Good evening, Justice Warriors. Are we all here? I am so excited that my YouTube is functioning. Let's see if my brain does. I am just going to get started with my yoga and then hopefully we can do a live chat tomorrow. Let's see. I even have my mic and everything. So let me see. Here we go. So I'm just going to do my little yoga class with you guys. Let me get a drink of my veggie juice. It's extra special veggie juice. It has lemonade in it too. All right, here we go. Enough with the splaining. And we're right on time, 3:45. Good evening and welcome to my master class. Today is the 9th of June, 2024. That was almost a month ago. This is the 7th of July. Yin Yoga restoration class that I've been working on for the past couple of months. I'm going to start with an offer of aromatherapy on a cool, wet cloth. And then we'll start in the corpse pose. I don't ask you to hit that button. Our intention. Let me get my mic. Setting our intention for this practice. Focus on what you want to bring into your life and what you are needing to let go of to allow that change and shift. We're going to hold this corpse pose for a minute while we set our intentions. I love that pretty little lantern. Okay. Not going to worry about the lights. Yoga. And then we'll prepare to do 5 deep belly breaths. Hands on your tummy like you're filling a balloon with air or you're 9 months pregnant. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth 5 times. Can you see me? Should I make the angle any different? I don't know. And 5, release. We'll continue to hold this corpse pose. Continue to visualize what it is that you're wanting to cultivate into your life and what it is that you need to eliminate from your life. And then we're going to rotate the neck slowly to the right side. Rotate the head and neck back to neutral. Rotate slowly to the left side. And then back to neutral. When we're done with that, we will hug our right knee for several breaths. You can engage the foot, flex your heel, rotate your ankle, point your toe. Continue hugging that knee, paying close attention to the micro movements and the compression in your right hip. Then reach for your strap, getting the ball of your right foot into the strap. Straighten out your leg. Pull that leg a little closer to your chest and hold there. You can bend that knee. You can straighten it. You can do a little bit of both. Pulling that leg a little closer to your chest and hold. And then we'll bring that leg out to the right side with the strap or without if you like for a half straddle. We'll hold the half straddle for several breaths. Get that right leg back down onto the mat, switching your legs to hug your left knee. Continue hugging your left knee. Also, there's the option to engage the foot, flex the heel, rotate your ankle and point your toes. While you're continuing to hug that knee, again, pay attention to any micro movements and focus on that compression in your left hip. And then we'll reach for the strap again, get it onto the ball of your left foot, straighten out the leg, hold it there. Again, you can bend the knee slightly if you wish, straighten it, a little bit of both. Pulling that left leg a little closer to your chest. Then we're going to hold the left leg out to the left side with or without the strap for the half straddle on the left side. Then lower that leg back down to the mat with both legs out straight. Then you'll set your strap down. Stretch out long, arms straight overhead, and then hug both of your knees tightly. Continuing to hold your right knee, lower the left leg down to the mat, and then maybe with a bolster, place that right knee onto the left side of your body for the supine twist. Arms are in a T. We'll stay in the supine twist for a minute, keeping your drishti over your right fingertips. You have the option at any point in time to use your left hand to apply light pressure to your right knee. Really feel that stretch through your right rib cage and your right side. And then we will slowly turn the head to look to the left or opposite direction for 2 full breaths. And slowly turn the head and neck back to the right and then back to neutral. Lower the right leg back to the floor, hugging in both of your knees together, head and neck towards the knees, rocking and rolling, and then lowering your right leg to the floor while continuing to hug your left knee. We'll bring the left knee across the body to place it on the floor on the right side for the supine twist with the bolster again. Again, arms are in a T. Keeping your gaze over your left fingertips. Again, you have the option to use your right hand at any point in time to apply a light pressure to the left knee. Then we'll slowly turn the head to the right, the opposite direction. Hold it there for 2 breaths. And back towards your left. And then neutral, lower the left leg back down to the floor, coming out of the twist. Hugging both knees again, stretching the neck, rotating the ankles and engaging the feet, flexing the heels. And then we will get into butterfly, reclined butterfly with the bolster under our knees. Reaching your arms out wide to the sides. Make a rainbow motion with your arms and arch overhead until your hands meet above your head for the steeple grip. We'll hold that stretch. Then slowly flap your butterfly wings down, arms at your sides, hands or palms are facing up, and then slowly moving your arms back up overhead, once again touching the fingertips to each other. With your arms overhead, outstretched, fingers and thumbs touching, stay in the butterfly pose for a few more breaths. If you do have a bolster, you can remove it at this point. And then we'll do reclined tree pose on each side. First, bring the sole of your right foot to the inseam of your left leg, keeping your hands overhead in prayer hands. You can opt to branch your arms out, goalpost, steeple grip, yogi's choice. Then simply switch sides, placing the sole of your left foot to the inseam of your right leg. Arms are still overhead in prayer hands or branching, cactus, steeple, T, whatever you please. Then we will reach for the strap. With the strap on the balls of both feet, we'll do legs up the wall. Knees can be straight or bent slightly. You can rock, you can wiggle, you can walk your legs, alternating the legs being straight and bending each one at a time if you wish. Continue to keep your left foot in the strap on the ball of your foot And place your right foot across your left thigh for reclined pigeon. Bend the left knee slightly is an option, or keeping it straight, or some of each, straight and bent. Feel that stretch across your glute. And then we'll switch out the feet, getting your right foot into the strap and your left foot across your right thigh for the other side. Again, option to bend the knee, straighten it, or both. Then lay flat, laying your strap down next to you. We'll do 3 B breaths. Fingers are on the eyes, your pointer finger, middle finger, and ring finger, covering your closed eyes. Thumbs are on your ear cartilage, pressing your thumbs down on that tragus, closing off the airway to your ears. Breathing in through your nose and out through the nose. We will hum low pitch as we breathe out 3 times. After that, turn yourself over slowly to the left or the right, flipping yourself over to lay on your front side, resting your head on your hands, laying on top of each other. And we'll come up onto our elbows and forearms into Sphinx, hiking up your right knee with your right arm stretched out in front of you. With your left arm, thread the needle. Make any adjustments for this pose you need. As you get into this supine twist, get your right hand onto your right hip. You have the option of straightening the right arm, trying to lay it down flat on the ground with both shoulders flat, or keeping the right hand on that right hip. At any point, you can use your left hand to apply a slight pressure to your right knee, keeping your gaze out over your right fingertips. Notice the difference from the last supine twist, having gotten into the pose from an entirely different sequence of directives. Also notice the similarities along with the differences. When you undo the twist, rest your head on your hands again, laying them on top of one another. And then with bent knees, do a windshield wiper motion with the feet and calves, sliding back and forth before coming back up onto your forearms and elbows and hands into that Sphinx pose. Hike your left knee up to the left side with your left arm out in front of you. Thread your right arm through the needle. Then you can place your left hand on your left hip. Same as the other side. You can adjust yourself so that both shoulders and arms are flat on the ground in a T. or simply keep your left hand on your left hip. Option to apply light pressure with the right hand if you wish onto that left knee, keeping your drishti out over your left fingertips. When you are done coming out of that pose, rest your head on your hands once again, and in an exaggerated motion, really slide those windshield wiper feet and knees back and forth, loosening the hips out. Then we'll lower the feet to the ground, and we will send our hips back towards our feet into a wide knee child pose, using a bolster or a pillow to rest the torso on. Relaxing into this position, ragdolling the upper portion of your body onto the props, allowing the gravity to do the work for you, feeling the pillows support the weight of your torso, trusting that gravity and the earth will protect you and provide for you and keep you safe and healthy. When you're done, remove the props and then come to lie on the belly through a tabletop movement, and then back into the Sphinx on the forearms again, this time spreading your hands and your fingers out as wide as you can, and then turning your right forearm parallel with the top of the mat. We will reach back with your left hand for your left foot. Hold that half bow for several breaths. Oh, hey. Then letting go, rest your head on your hands again.
Is that
one hand
Sherry?
on top of the other. And again, slide those feet and knees back and forth, really moving your hips again in that windshield wiper movement. And then the same thing for the other side, back into Sphinx.
I think that says Sherry.
Spreading your hands and fingers out as wide as you can.
Simply Smile.
Then turning the left forearm parallel to the top of your mat.
I'll get my glasses.
Reaching with your right hand back to your right foot. Holding for several breaths.
Thanks for saying hi.
Really feel that stretch.
I think it says Simply Smile. I don't have my glasses on, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Hi, Jazz. Hi, Simply Smile. That's a really
then
great
when you
handle.
let go, both feet are back on the mat. And again, we will send our hips back to our feet, sitting on our feet in the child's pose. You can rest your head on a block for several breaths. We're going to stay in child's pose. We're going to walk the fingers and hands to the right edge of the mat, reaching towards the right corner for several breaths. Really feel that stretch in your left rib cage. Then walk your hands and fingers back to neutral. Then walking them over to the left edge of the mat. reaching for the left corner, holding that for several breaths. Feel the stretch across the right side and ribs. And then walk your hands back to neutral. We will come up into Hero's Pose, pausing there momentarily. And then swing your legs around in front of you for Staff Pose. Place a bolster and maybe stack some pillows on top of your legs to, again, ragdoll your torso over your legs. An alternative to this is that you can use the strap on the balls of your feet for the same type of effect here. We'll hold this for several breaths. Allowing the gravity to do the work for you. Allowing your props to completely support the weight of your torso. Envision tilting your hips slightly towards your feet and towards your toes. Then when we're done with that, we'll remove the bolster and pillows, keeping the left leg stretched out long, and bring the right foot to the inseam of the left thigh. Reach for those left toes with your left hand, holding for several breaths, reaching your right hand over those toes. Then we'll come up into a wide straddle stretch, leaning forward for a breath or two before switching it out to the other side. Left foot to the inner right thigh. Reach for those right toes with your right hand and reaching your left hand over those right toes. We'll hold this side for several more breaths. Stretch both legs out into the wide straddle again, leaning forward, reaching for your block in front of you or resting your forehead on two blocks stacked. We'll hold this for several breaths. Then we'll come into seated butterfly, holding both of your feet, soles together with your hands. Bend your neck and head towards your feet. Then bringing your head up to neutral. We'll twist our head to the right, back to neutral, to the left, and back to neutral. Then stretching the neck down, rolling slightly from side to side. You could have the option of making a full circle with your head in one direction, and then full circle with your head in the other direction, and then back to neutral, before shifting the butterfly into easy pose and then dropping your right ear to your right shoulder. You have the option here to use a light pressure with your right fingertips on your head. Then back to neutral. Then your left ear to your left shoulder with that option once again for the slight pressure with your left fingertips on your head if you wish. And then back to neutral. Again, turn your head slowly from side to side, first to the right, then neutral, to the left, and back to neutral. Now we'll bring ourselves into a wide straddle leaning forward, maybe using the blocks in front of you to reach. You can also stack the blocks again to rest your forehead on. We will hold this for several breaths. You have your head stacked, resting on stacked blocks. You can really allow the blocks to support the weight of your head. And if you're reaching for your blocks, just allow gravity to support you. Then you can pick up the blocks in each of your hands, reaching over for the left foot, maybe placing those blocks on each side of your left foot and holding that pose, placing the blocks, placing your hands on the blocks or reaching for your toes. Then you can pick up those blocks and place them on either side of your right foot, reaching over the right foot, resting your hands on the blocks again. And then coming back up to neutral. Our next pose will be bending our right knee over our left leg, which is out straight, twisting to the right, gazing to the back of the room, using the left elbow to leverage on the right knee. Really use that left elbow for the leverage on the right knee and keep your gaze on the back wall of the room as far as you can see. And slowly turn your gaze to look towards the front of the room. And then slowly returning your gaze to the back of the room, all while continuing to leverage that left elbow on the right knee. And then we'll simply switch sides, bending the left knee over the right leg is out straight, gazing to the left back of the room. Continuing to leverage the right elbow on your left knee. Keeping your drishti back as far as you can see on the back wall. And then slowly we'll turn the gaze to the front of the room. Slowly turning your head and your gaze to the back of the room once again. Continuing to leverage the right elbow on the left knee. And then back to butterfly. Holding feet together, pressing knees towards the floor, bending forward, your forehead towards your feet or the floor. And then coming up, keep your posture as if a string were being pulled from above, from the top of your head. Oh, another comment. Is that Annie Ruler? I don't have my glasses and it's far away. And now we'll get into Lord of the Fish, bending the right knee over the left knee that is also bent, twisting to the right. The arm is back, left elbow leverages against the right knee, looking to the back of the room. You can have your eyes closed, but continue that stretch as far as you can. Continue leveraging with your elbow on the knee. Then we'll turn the head slowly to look to the front of the room. Slowly back again to the back of the room. And then straightening both legs out for staff pose. Reaching your arms up to the sky. Steeple grip your fingers. Reach up tall. And then we will switch legs for the other side. Left knee is over the right bent knee, twisting to the left. Right arm leveraging against the left knee, looking to the back of the room. Really feel that twist. Continue to leverage with your elbow on the knee. Again, you're welcome to have your eyes closed or open. Either way, turning your head slowly to be looking towards the front of the room. And again, slowly returning the head to be looking towards the back of the room once again. And then the head back to neutral and staff pose. Arms out wide, legs out front. Make like a rainbow arch, touching your fingertips overhead. And then reaching for your toes. We'll come into easy pose with cactus or goalpost arms for eagle arms. First, we will do the right elbow over the left elbow, hands together, pushing elbows slightly up, bending neck down.
And then looking up, I added that recently.
And we'll undo the twist and spread the arms back out wide. You might want to shake them out. Back to cactus. And again, eagle arms with the left elbow over the right elbow this time. Pushing the elbows slightly up and bending the neck down.
And then slowly looking up if you want. And leaning your head back.
Then we will stretch our arms out wide to the sides, bringing them overhead in a rainbow shape to the steeple grip, sitting tall. Maybe a slight arch in the back. Stretch slightly to the right at about 2 o'clock. Then back to neutral. Then over towards the left.
At about 10 o'clock.
And then back to neutral again, reaching up as high as you can. Then we will bend forward to reach for the toes.
Or the floor.
Before then laying down on your back. Plant both feet on the floor, knees bent. You'll probably want to hold a block or a pillow in between the knees and maybe another or a bolster next to you so that you can allow your knees to fall to the right. We'll hold this stretch for about a minute. Arms in a T, focusing your drishti over the left fingertips. Then slowly you'll rotate your head to be looking out over your right fingertips. And then slowly rolling your head, rotating it back to be looking out to the left again. Before rotating your head back to neutral. Then bring your knees back to neutral. And then allow both legs to fall to the left, gazing out over your right fingertips. Then we'll slowly turn the head to set your gaze over the left fingertips and then slowly rotating your head and neck back to have your gaze over your right hand again. Then rotating the head back to neutral and the knees back to neutral. Remove the props and then both feet will be flat on the mat again. Put your right knee over your left knee, allowing your legs to fall to your right. We'll hold this for a minute with our arms in a T, gazing out over the left hand. Slowly turn your head and neck to the right. Slowly turn them back to the left. And then slowly back to neutral. Both feet flat on the mat, hugging the knees to the chest, rocking and rolling. Both feet flat onto the mat again for the other side, the left knee over the right knee, falling the legs to your left side. We'll hold this for a full minute with the gaze over the right fingertips.
This is my absolute favorite of all these twists. This is the best one. Although I do love them all, I must say. It's so nice to stretch in the twists.
Carefully and slowly rotate your head to the left. And then back to the other side. And then back to neutral. Hugging your knees one more time, rocking and rolling. And then if you would like to do the happy baby, this is your opportunity. You can rock the baby, maybe alternating, straightening, and slightly bending each knee. As we come out of that form, we'll lay flat and then reach for a block for supported bridge. We'll plant the feet firmly on the mat, lifting up the hips, placing a block under the small of your back on its lowest level, and then resting your hips on that block. We will remain in supported bridge for a full minute. While we're still on the block, we will do legs up the wall again with or without the strap. Remember what you focused your intention on with this practice at the beginning, what it is that you want to cultivate and nourish to bring more of into your life, and what it is that you need to relinquish and let go of in order to allow that to happen. At this point, we'll remove the block, and if it's in your practice, there's an option here for a shoulder stand and plow. Take a minute or two to do these, or yogi's choice, any stretch you would like. Or you could get into corpse pose early. That's where we'll be going next. If you want to continue with legs up the wall, whatever it is that you feel like your body needs right now. If you are in the plow, when you are coming out of the plow, as slow and controlled as you can with your chin tucked.
That was not slow
Try
and
to
controlled,
lower
was it?
one vertebrae at a time, rolling yourself down to the floor to then relax in corpse pose. We will remain in corpse pose for 3 full minutes. Here I will offer you a series of adjustments. I will first be pulling on the feet from below you, then adjusting each shoulder, standing over you, and then sitting down above you with my feet on each of your shoulders and pulling your head from beneath and giving you a little head massage. So if you would like that, just place a hand on your belly. If you have a hand on your belly, I will assume that you want the adjustments. If you don't have a hand on your belly, I will assume that you don't want the adjustments.
I taught this
But if I
class
misread your signals,
publicly
just
yesterday
let me know
in the studio
as I go around
for
the
the
room.
first time.
Give each one of you this amazing adjustment.
And I didn't even have any notes with me.
So simple and so safe and so effective.
I only forgot one thing. Well, maybe two. But yeah, giving all 3 of those adjustments to a small group of people takes a little bit, but I actually really enjoy doing it. If somebody doesn't want it, though, I'm not the least bit offended, and then it's gonna speed things up a little because it probably takes a couple of minutes for each person. I haven't timed it, but I try not to rush no matter how many people I have. Give each person a nice, relaxing series of adjustments. If it's too many people in the group, I'll just do one of the 3 adjustments, probably the shoulder one. I haven't had that problem yet, but I think if it's more than 5 people, because I had 6 people and that was kind of rough. That was a lot.
When you're ready to come out of corpse pose, you have the option to either roll to one side or the other, and then slowly and gently pushing yourself up to sitting. Or there's another option to rock slightly with your chin tucked, coming up onto your elbows, and then getting into staff pose.
Instead of
Either way,
staff,
we will meet in staff pose.
easy pose. So
reaching
do a
up,
nice little twist.
arms out and arching up into the steeple grip for 1 to 2 breaths.
Crisscross applesauce.
Arching the back ever so slightly while looking to the ceiling. Then lean forward, reaching for the toes. Sitting back upright and getting into easy pose. With the hands on the knees, touching our pointer fingers to our thumbs, We will chant Om 3 times in a low pitch. Then stretching our arms out wide, arching them overhead into prayer hands. To acknowledge your insight and wisdom, you will touch your thumbs and knuckles to your third eye on your way to hands to heart. Then stretching the arms out wide again and bringing them overhead one more time, touching fingers and thumbs to prayer hands. And then again, tapping on your third eye, acknowledging your wisdom and insight as you come to hands over heart before bowing to close and seal the practice. And so it is. Thank you kindly for practicing with me today.
So let's
have a very blessed rest of your
anyone
day.
is still here on the live. I'll get my little glasses on, turn that off. All right. And here's my mic. So hopefully you guys can hear me. It is Simply Smile and the Annie Ruler. I guessed right. Hola, watching to get ready to learn. Annie, you will absolutely love it. I am not kidding you. I am addicted to this routine. I have to do it almost every single day. There's times where I do it twice in a day. So just get yourself a couple of blocks. I like having 3. And then you can get yourself different sizes of pillows. Simply Smile. Hello again. Thank you guys so much for being here. So I like these pillows because they're kind of medium, but sometimes it's nice to have a really flat pillow just for the nape of your neck. Some people use a blanket rolled up. And then I also like to have large pillows sometimes to do that one where you're doing the staff pose and stacking the pillows up and then kind of hunching over them. And that looks like an easy exercise, but there's no such thing. Like nothing is easy. And what's especially interesting about the Yin Yoga is just to feel how much you resist and hold on and just letting it go. But should we talk true crime for a minute, you guys? I am so happy to report that my internet has improved dramatically. We got a brand new router from Spectrum and it's almost 100%. Like it's such a 180. It's amazing. That was really, really difficult struggling through that. I wish I had done the new router sooner, but better late than never. And then hopefully get back into the routine of doing the lives every day. I still have been taking notes. I have so much to say about Kiely Rodney. I have so much to say about Mica Miller. I have a lot to say about Taylor. I'm forgetting Taylor's last name. The person from Chicago who went on the yoga retreat down to the Bahamas and is missing. So, in case you don't know, that person named Taylor is a woman, a trans woman. So she's like 5'11", and she looks very unique. You know, I noticed that right away. So when I found out that she was a trans woman, I was like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. And you know, she's beautiful, but that does make her more of a vulnerable individual, possibly to like more of a target.
And there's no indication that Taylor went for a swim. That was one of my thoughts, is like, let's hope there's no foul play. Let's hope that this is just a, just a tragedy, right? I mean, it's got to be bad when you say, "Oh, I hope it's just a tragedy." I mean, seriously. She could be abducted, and I haven't found anything out new today on the case, but I'd say from the reports that I've seen, mostly mainstream media, that it's looking more and more like a probable abduction, and possibly something with that ashram, the the yoga retreat place. Those yoga places can get pretty spooky pretty quickly, you guys. I think I've shared with you the first yoga class that I ever took was free. Excuse me. It was at my college, and there were a lot of us in there. I'd say 50 or something, 50 college students. Free yoga. Cool, right? No, not cool. This person was from a cult in New York City, and they were, this was what they do. They go out on tour and they try to recruit college kids to their thing. And I was so appalled. I did not enjoy the bait and switch at all. Nothing's free, right? So I also almost went on a meditation retreat in Seattle when I graduated from college. It was like a 10-day meditation retreat. And at the last minute, I just kind of chickened out. It was just not uh, logistically a sound, reasonable thing to do. I ran my own business and I could not afford to take 10 days off right after graduating from college. I needed to make some moolah. And it was weird because my roommate's boyfriend was all about this meditation retreat. And when he found out that I wasn't going, he got angry. Angry. I'm like, whoa, dude, maybe you should go back to your meditation retreat and meditate on your anger. So that just kind of confirmed for me that I didn't need to be a part of anything that he was a part of. Dang it, Nancy. Hey, Jazz, way to go. I'm running late in Texas, and weed eating just kicked my arse. Times like this, I truly miss my husband. I wasn't brought up for this. Oh, you make me want to cry. You could hire a kid to do your weed whacking. I know it is really hard. I would not recommend doing it in the heat. I do my own weed whacking usually. And yeah, I like to be fully clothed, long sleeves, long pants, socks, boots, glasses, or even goggles and gloves, because you just never know what's going to come flying. And it is just a freaking mess. But doesn't it feel good to do it? It's sort of like you're fighting demons. Dang it, Nancy. But man, Texas in the summer, I would only be doing that at like 2 in the morning. Just get the floodlights out there. Because, yeah, you have to be able to see what you're doing. You don't want to weed whack something by accident. And so, yeah, I've been watching this channel that's new to me. The person is like CJ Crime something. I have it in my notes. My notes are way up there. Um, I'll put a link in the description. So today, CJ was out at the protest. He does not live there in South Carolina. I think he said he lives in Indiana, but he drove to the protest in front of Solid Rock Church. And good for him and all the other people that were out there. And it's pretty interesting. JP gave him a peach, maybe a couple of peaches. And I was like, dude, please don't eat anything JP hands you. I don't care if he just picked it off the tree in front of you. He still could have put stuff in there and had that all planned out. I mean, I would not be trusting nothing. Which light just went out? That's all right. I mean, it does kind of make me look a little green. See if I can make a another red light because that was the pink one. That pink one is kind of stupid. It likes to go out. Okay, so there. Now I'm not so green. The red and the green, or the pink and the green, kind of cancel each other out. And then it does better for your skin tones than just white lights. If you guys notice when you're watching YouTube, there's a lot of people that the coloring does not look so good. And it's not because they're sick, it's just because they don't have the good lights. It is hard. It's really hard. And the natural sunlight seems to be the worst, at least with my devices. It's probably different with different devices. So, CB, hello, hello. Dang it, Nancy says, I just, yes, I just learned how to change the string in it. Thank God for YouTube, right? I got my yoga mats out and I'll have to catch up this evening. Oh, dang it, Nancy. You will love it. You will absolutely love it. Especially after doing that kind of physical work. I would recommend doing a hot bath with Epsom salt. I try to do that anytime I do yard work. And also when I'm doing a lot of yoga, that just prevents any lactic acid buildup and fermentation in your muscles, which is what will make you sore. So Epsom salt in a hot bath is the best. Is it okay if I do yoga in my deep kiddie pool? Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, CB. I love it. Absolutely. Go for it. That's smart. So, for those that don't know, I redesigned my master yoga class after I had a vertigo attack. I'd never had vertigo in my life. And I think it was like a combination of double food poisoning and stress, teenager stress. But man, it hit me like a ton of bricks towards the end of a yoga class. And it was so bad. I had to go to the ER. It was insane. Anyway, it's been a pretty smooth recovery, but that was what I designed my new yoga routine for, was to recover from the uh, the stress and the nausea. And if you've ever had a vertigo attack, like, you have to keep it away. Like, you can feel it wanting to sneak back when you get stressed or too hungry or too thirsty. Like, that was one of the main things my doctor told me. Is She said, I know you drink a lot of water, but drink a lot of water. She was like, basically, you need to have ice water in your hand at all times. And she was absolutely right. That made all the difference in the world. You're beautiful in any light, Mamacita. Oh, aren't you so sweet? Um, I would not agree, but that's all right. Um, I'm serious. The lighting can be crazy. It always makes me think of this that movie Clueless, when Alicia Silverstone has that boy over for a date at her house, and turns out that he's not straight. And she's like, "What happened? Did I fall into bad lighting or something?" My doc says ice water dehydrates. Oh, I have not heard that, Annie Ruler. Um, but I used to drink tepid water back in the 80s. That was what we were all taught was healthy. And I just can't. I'm like, I need ice in my water. I came around on that when I started gardening. Once I started gardening in the summertime, I became dependent on ice water, and I love it. Like, it helps me because I used to really like sparkling water, like with a fruit essence, which is still healthy, but I think it's even better for your body just to drink regular water. But just so long as you're staying hydrated is what's most important. CB says, I agree 100%. Dang it, Nancy. Oh, you guys are too sweet. So let's talk more about Mica, Kiely Rodney, that person Taylor down in the Bahamas. I hope that they get some answers. The poor mom, like, she went down there and she had to go back home with no answers. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine going to another country to locate your loved one and then having to leave without locating them. Of course, that's what Natalie Holloway's mother did. And the whole episode with this woman, Taylor, I think has reminded a lot of people of Natalie Holloway. The Bahamas. Did I say something else? I think it was the Bahamas. Paradise Island. I have 32-ounce mug of ice water at doc office. Oh, just when you're at the doctor's office. My necklace is all turned around. Let's see. It's this cool blue stone. Can you see it? And little blue earrings. I wore these earrings and this necklace on a family road trip to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan a few summers ago. And I only had the one necklace and the one pair of earrings, so I wore them for the whole week or however many days we were gone. And so every time I wear these earrings and this necklace, it makes me feel like that trip. And that was a beautiful trip. Anyone who's never been to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, holy crap, you don't know what you're missing. I had never been up there. So I had no idea what I was missing. I think it's called Pictured Rock. I always want to call it Painted Rock, but that 26-mile stretch of lake shorefront with the painted picture cliffs, out of control gorgeous, and just the colors and the sun and the sky and the water, it is breathtaking. um let's see. Yeah, CB says I would not be able to leave. You know, for those of you that don't know, about a year ago when I went to my aunt's funeral down in Florida, my little tiny Mookie dog got away while we were at the funeral, and my sister's husband was looking after the dogs. And we left the funeral as quickly as we could. It was like 3 hours, and like I was just going out of my mind, trying not to flip inside out on the way back. And fortunately the dog was rescued, but for about an hour and a half I was thinking, like, I'm not going to be able to leave the state of Florida not knowing. I figured she was either going to get eaten by an alligator or hit by a car, but I was like, I just have to know. Like, I fully didn't expect that we were going to get her back safely, and thank goodness we did. Thank goodness. But I was just like, how will I be able to leave the state not knowing? And I figured the chances of even knowing anything were slim, and the chances of her being rescued I thought were almost non-existent. So I was kind of in that boat, in that mindset, and I was thinking, like, I'm not going to be able to leave the state. And this is just for a puppy dog. I mean, not for a person. Seriously, I don't think I could leave. If it was my kid, I think I'd have to camp out and stay there until I found something out. But I don't know. I mean, you do what you got to do, right? Hopefully, I'll never be in a situation like that. Annie Ruler says, I have not heard. Yes, Paradise Island in Bahamas. I will have to study up. Oh, it's a fascinating case, Annie Ruler, because the person is trans, which that wasn't, released publicly at first. So when I found that out, I got even more concerned for her safety because of hate crimes and such. It also makes a person more vulnerable to self-harm because of all the stress of living, with the hate in the world. And that was, I was kind of split at first, 50-50. Like, maybe she did something. Maybe she did something intentional or unintentional. And maybe there's foul play involved. But the longer that it goes on, one of the things that somebody said, and I've listened to a lot of interviews from people that have been there or people that actually were there and part of the training. So the night that she disappeared, the water was particularly choppy and rough, and it's recommended that people don't swim there anyway, because it's always a little choppy and rough. So especially that night, it was just you know, that was the information, is that people were told, whatever you do, don't go for a swim. Also, if she had gone for a swim, she probably would have washed up or been found by now. I mean, not necessarily. It's, of course, that's still a possibility. But she was staying in a tent, like, so they have like nice rooms that are expensive, and then they have huts that are less expensive, and then they have tents to rent out. And then I think there's people that bring their own tents that can come for free, basically. And that's where you get some of these, like, what sounds like the C word, the community following, people that just hang out there nonstop. And um, anyway, it sounds like it can get weird, even though this is a place that Gwyneth Paltrow promotes and other people. A lot of people have been there, say it's a wonderful place, but there's kind of an unhealthy, quirky element or vibe, I think, too. So it's entirely possible that somebody abducted her out of the tent. I mean, just being in a tent on a wooden platform, like a pavilion, but being in a tent, you're very vulnerable. So the way it was handled was really poor, too. So that's been criticized. Of course, they didn't want it to interfere with the making of the money. And that's just not how you handle a situation like that. Like, the first thing, your first priority is people first, and then money, right? That's like a Suze Orman, financial guru. People first, then money, then stuff. So remember that. People first, man. I mean, we shouldn't need to be reminded, but I think we do. Hopefully not roofie. Oh, Annie, I didn't even think about that part. A lot. Yeah. I had not even thought about that. I just hope there's answers, and I hope that Taylor can come back to her loved ones safely. So it sounds like she was there to become a certified yoga teacher. Like, it was like a crash course, maybe like 2 weeks. I think if you're going to do 40-hour weeks, it's a month, because it's a 200-hour training. So you'd have to do a little bit more than 40 hours a week in a month. The 200-hour training that I just did was like one weekend a month for about 10 months. So it's a lot of hours. And personally, I think I'd rather do it spread out the way I did than doing it all in a month. Even though, like, yeah, you want it, you just want to, like, get your certification. It takes time, and it's good to give yourself time. It's a real serious process. Let's see. My girlfriend, ugh, gotta start with that. Ugh, my girlfriend was visiting me, left at 8:20 for last sunset picture. Thank goodness several people saw her floating face down. 72-year-old tiny Filipina. I ID'd and escorted ashes home. Drowned. Oh, how sad. I'm so sorry, Annie. Was this down in Mexico? Um, Baja California? That is horrible. Yeah, water's so dangerous. So let's talk about the Mica Miller case, because there's a lot of information about that Christopher Skinner, the man in the wheelchair who passed away 3 years ago. I think it was September of 2024, but I'm not 100% sure. 2021. So we're in 2024 now. Anyway, it was 3 years ago, but I've looked into it. I've tried to find out as much as I can about it, and there's some shady business going on there. I don't think it's right to set that aside when we're trying to focus on what happened to Mica. I think it is very relevant, and we can't look at these cases isolated in vacuums, because They're connected, they're related, it seems. So Chris Skinner was in a really awesome wheelchair that was super expensive, that was called an all-terrain wheelchair, and there was a bunch of fundraising with famous people like country music performers. And so a year before he passed away, so in 2020, they got this all-terrain wheelchair for him. So think about it, folks. This all-terrain wheelchair is going to be remote controlled, right? So we have, those of us that have been following Mica's case and have paid attention to Chris Skinner's case, we know that there's videotape footage of his wheelchair hanging out around the pool, no one else there, and then he goes in the water. Okay? So if it's remote control wheelchair, I would think that it would be pretty easy for somebody to tap into that and remote control it. So then they've got the videotape of like nobody's around, but this is another thing that's so suspicious, is that he was allegedly meeting his friend at the community pool to play chess. And that friend that he was allegedly meeting has never been identified. That's crazy. You would have that person as your person of interest. And then I just put this together today or maybe yesterday. I think it was today. JP's people out there at the protest today were saying, we play chess, we don't play checkers. And I thought, are you seriously saying you play chess? Because if you're connected to JP and connected to what happened to his girlfriend's deceased late husband, that's really weird that you're saying metaphorically we play chess when he was meeting somebody to play chess. Like, what a coincidence, what a coinky dink. No such thing. CB says, you would think family first, but this day and age of weird. Annie says July 2016, Cabo, but Grand Bahama could have happened to her. If nobody saw my friend, we would never have known Solmer Beach at my condo. Exactly. And that is so sad. I mean, so bodies of water are always high risk, whether it's a pool, a lake, a river, a creek, a puddle. I mean, the reservoir, the Prosser Creek Reservoir that Kiely Rodney was found in, the little tiny river or creek that Hudson Hudson, I think it's Lindstrom in Idaho 4, the guy who had passed away from Sigma Chi almost like 9 months before the Idaho 4. And he was found in like a tiny river. Like, I've heard that you can't even really call it a river, it's more like a creek. And then of course Riley Strain, and I haven't really followed that case, but I know Ryan Upchurch put out a video the other day about Kiely and Riley, and I've heard other people putting the two together. Personally, I don't think their names are like that big of a deal. Riley has gotten to be a more popular name, and Kiely, that's pretty unique, but a lot of variations of things like Kiely, Kayla, Kaylin, Kaylee, obviously, Kenna, just a lot of K names. So I don't know. But the Kiely Rodney case, let's talk about that before we wrap up. We're already at an hour 23. Lindo, thank you, Annie Ruler. Hudson Lindo. Yes, by many accounts was waterboarded. Several accounted with honey. 2 frat boys allegedly waterboarded with honey. Oh, that's creepy AF. Let me read that whole thing again. Many accounts was waterboarded. Several accounts were with honey. 2 frat boys allegedly. I've never even considered a kind of waterboarding thing with honey rather than water. That is so scary sounding, just because of the thickness of it. Like it'd be so easy to suffocate. So with Kiely Rodney's case, keep up with Ninja Chihuahua. She has been doing so much great work. And one of her latest, it might be her very most recent, is, of course, the breaking down of the Scammy Smith crapola with her Tony Dodge interview. And I didn't do my disclaimer. I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of having a conversation with you guys, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something. And all my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. Both drowned with no water in the lungs, thanks CB. But Riley's second autopsy showed water in lungs. Odd AF, in my opinion. Yes, that is odd. Like, why would it not show up in the first one? Because they forgot to add it? Yeah. Thank goodness that 14-year-old boy was found safe and alive. The one whose parents were arrested, in Indiana. Anyway, back to Kiely. So Kiely Rodney, in Ninja's most recent video, she's talking about several points of Scammy's, all the crazy things she said when she was talking to Tony Dodge, like the cow with horns, the sticker of the cow with horns, and we were never looking at her car that severely. I spoke about that choice of words months ago. Never looking at her car that severely. To me, that is very indicative of a severe something. And nobody looks at a car severely or not severely. Severe is a term that usually goes with injury. So I'm thinking that was her telling on herself, that Kiely had a severe injury. I put up a post on my community tab last night, I think it was, with Seeker of Truth's most recent video. And it's kind of like a dream. It's very artsy. I think it's very good. It takes a lot of creative liberties, but it makes more sense to me than anything on the official record. And I would like to encourage people to watch that Seeker of Truth video and share it, spread it around. That channel doesn't not have that wide of a reach, and it's unfortunate because they're a really good content creator. Let's see, what else do we have? Unfortunately, Kiely can't have a second opinion on her autopsy. Good comment, CB. Yep, they made sure of that, didn't they? CB, frats graduate with med degrees and owe their souls to their silence. Strategically placed, in my opinion, allegedly they make 25% or more than others in same fields. Why? Favors? I did not know this, that being in the fraternities gives them 25% more income. I knew it was good for networking, so yeah. CB maddening. They wanted a certificate and out. Yeah. It is an awesome video. Oh, good. You saw it. Simply Smile. I'm so glad that you saw it. And please go look at my community post from last night, because I think what I wrote there is really good. Just talking about dereliction of duty with law enforcement, and they're corrupt. I mean, straight up. I tried to not use that word. I try to stay away from those C words, but it's obvious that they're no good, and they are harmful. They can't pretend that they're just that big of a team of buffoons. I mean, that none of them know their elbow from the rear end. None of them know the shinola from the stuff that comes out of the rear end. I mean, not one. And just the whole thing with trying to pretend that her car was there and that they couldn't see it right in front of them. That's crazy. It was not there. That's crazy. Like, you would think that they would just say it wasn't there, but then they can't say that she crashed herself into there. So they'd have to come up with a whole new narrative, right? All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off since we're at 90 minutes, and I love you. Thank you so much for being here. It's always hard to say goodbye when I've got people here. It's so cool. I love you guys. I miss you like crazy. It was really hard not making videos the last few days, but it was even harder making them with all of the glitches and lack of internet. That was insane. Annie says, yes, now I have the creeps. I have a friend gave me secret handshake, tickled finger pad while we cruised Lake Coeur d'Alene last summer, and he told me he was a graduate, has mucho money. Weird. Yeah, Idaho's different than any other place in the world that I know of. Yeah, it's a whole different country, is what I like to say. So have a good evening. Yes, everybody, have a great evening. Make sure you take good care of yourself. Drink your water. Eat your protein, your veggies, get your rest, and try the yoga if you are up for it. It's so awesome because it's just so relaxing and all these great twists. And I hope that you have fun with it. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow on a live. Have a great evening, and thanks again. See you soon and stream. There we go.